Hello, hello, and welcome to the Pixelogic ZBrush live stream. My name is Ben. I go by Follygon around here. I am just setting up a couple things here before we get started. We are going to spend maybe about like 5 or 10 minutes so here in the beginning deciding on what we're going to be creating during our time together. So normally I stream for a couple hours, but I think I'm going to have to jump off of here a little bit early tonight because the Z Friends, the triple stream is coming on tonight with, I can't remember who all is on it, but it's going to be starting here in just a couple hours. Let me see here. Let me triple check. Anna, Pablo, and Steven are all going to be streaming at the same time, so that'll be in just a couple hours here, so stick around for that. I'm going to be watching it for a little bit before I go to sleep. But, yeah, like I said, my name's Ben. And tonight, we are going to be doing a Pokemon fusion! Wah! Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Hopefully, depending on what our fusion ends up being. I'm actually going to let you guys decide on each one, depending on how difficult it is. We can see if we can finish it during our stream tonight. If you guys want to check out more of my stuff, you can just check out my YouTube channel, which is just Follygon, of course. Yeah, tutorials, blah, blah, blah. Check it out. Gumroad, tutorials, all sorts of stuff, blah, blah, blah. Check it out. That's gumroad.com/Follygon. And yeah, if you want to check out my art station, I got that too. If you're new around here, this is the Pixelogic ZBrush channel. Tons of awesome people stream here. Definitely click follow or subscribe wherever you are watching. The button switches. And I say we go ahead and randomly generate a Pokemon and not waste any more time. What is going on? Nuclear Dan, welcome back. Francisco, welcome back. And Diego, welcome back. How you guys doing? Eric, how you doing, man? Chimchar. I don't know who Chimchar is. Let's get him in here. Chimchar. What's a Chimchar? Ah, the monkey. I do know Chimchar. Chimchar and Magikarp. The stuff of nightmares. I think I had one more that I really liked. Bane Plume is the one that I generated right before the stream started, and I was like, ooh, that's actually really cool. I don't know what it looks like the other way. Not quite as cool. pretty lame. But I really like this one. What else? What else we got, guys? I saw your 15-minute speed sculptor in Absolute Madland. Yes, that was brain melting for sure. For those that don't know, over on my YouTube channel, I tried to sculpt 3 different Pokemon in 15 minutes each, and yeah, it was just a little bit stressful. I just released a video today on going and finding random objects and trying to sculpt them and turn them into characters or creatures. That was a lot of fun as well. I've seen one Pokemon suggested so far. We need a second one. Scizor or Gengar? I like Gengar. Gengar's awesome. Gengar. Let's get him in the mix. Chimchar Gengar. That one looks pretty dumb. Can we swap them? Chimchar Gengar. Chimgar. Wow, that's beautiful. What was your other suggestion? Scizor? I think he's the red version of Scichar, right? Let's try him maybe instead. But I'm doing great, thank you so much for asking. Hope you guys are doing good as well. That's kind of derpy. We need it to not be super derpy. That's actually kind of cool. We might be able to make that work. It's like a little mini Scizor. He's kind of cute. I kind of like him. Chilling here, ready to learn something. Just picked up ZBrush about 20 days ago. Well, welcome. Glad to have you, man. Lucia, what's going on? Cubone. Cubone's pretty good. I do like him. This is a contender, we'll call it. Let's open up one more here. Whoops. No, I just want this one here. So Cubone. I don't think that's how you. I don't know how to spell Cubone. I assume he's Gen 1, right? It's not just the letter Cubone, right? Yeah, it's like Q-U-E. Is it Cubone? No, it's C-U-E, isn't it? C-U. No, just C-U. C-U-Bone. Cubone and Wailord. Beautiful. That's gonna work. Wonders. Okay, wow, definitely not that one. Get out of here. Cubone and Mew. What's going on, Spear Chuck? How you doing, man? Whoops. Give us a Mew. Wow, that is something else. You know what? I think I'm going to make the executive decision here and go with our first one, the Scichar or Scichar maybe. I think he's pretty cute. I like the color palette. I think the shape and proportions work pretty well with what we got going on here. Let's do it. Let's do Scichar. All right, let me save this guy out, and we can go ahead and get started. Let's see here. I'll go ahead and save this and import the image to ZBrush. Whoa, we froze. All right, hold on just a second while I try to fix this. I don't know what's wrong. And my monitor is frozen. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on just a second. Trying to fix it. Okay, there we go. There, it's working now. I don't know what just happened there, but we are good to go. Let me import our Scichar guy there. Ooh, it did not save it out. I suck. Let me check chat real quick. Learned quite a bit from you since I've started the ZBrush live streams. Thank you. Of course. Miley maybe. Happy to help. That's an HTML file? I don't want an HTML file. Can I not save this as an image? Inspect! Inspect that code. We'll use our web dev abilities here to save an image. This is why we gave ourselves plenty of time. Where is this? Where you at, boy? Where's the URL? I don't know. All right, we'll just take a screenshot. It's fine. It'll be easier that way. Zoom in a little bit. Just do a quick print screen. Open up the shop. Do a quick screen grab. Save this out. Boom. All right, sorry about that, guys. Get started here in just a sec. Not a PSD, although you can import PSDs into ZBrush, which is very nice. But I prefer just getting a quick JPEG. A lossless JPEG. Not quite. All right, there we go. Well, that was a little bit of a process, but we got him. I think that's enough to go off of. And we can go back to our little window there if we need some additional reference. Mewtwo would have been good, but I feel like it would have been the same fate as Mew. But Mew, I think the small stature is what I like about this fusion. I think it looks pretty cool. Little proportional change there. Hey Lucy, what's going on? A cutout window tool? Yeah, I'm sure there is a bunch. I've had stuff like that in the past where you can just like screen grab and it saves it as like an image real quick, but I don't know. I'd rather just have one tool that does everything with shop. Yeah, I'm sure it's faster. All right, so the first step, of course, is just starting to block everything out. Let's go ahead and do colors from the very beginning, because it's always fun to work with colors. And color holds weight and has some value to it, so it helps in figuring out proportions for sure. Give Chimchar some love, absolutely. So like I said, step one, block out. Typically when I block stuff out, I just use some very simple primitives, much like this. Just some quick spheres, push and pull some stuff around, get the basic feel of the character, and go from there. I should look up some high-res images of, what's his name? Scizor? And I should examine that belly, because it's so pixelated it's hard to tell what's going on there. Huh, I don't know why there's a color palette swap there, because it doesn't look like there's a silver belly. It looks like he has a bit of a silver belly there, which is pretty interesting. I don't know, maybe we can work that in somehow. Thank you, Fred, appreciate it. I think it'll be pretty cool too. So it almost looks like it's kind of thrown Scizor's butt, like this little butt shape right here, which I kind of like. So he's got like a really small middle segment or something. So let's just get like try to get a feel for this. Figure out the proportions of a few of these segments here. So I could make his belly, like that midsection, a little bit larger, probably a little bit longer. Kind of looking like an ant. And from here, we'll just continue blocking stuff out. I like Chimchar's little hair thing he's got going on. It's pretty fun. But in the beginning, it's just going to be a little pointy piece for the time being. Maybe a little bit of wiggle, but that's all we need for now. Again, the purpose of blocking stuff out is just to figure it out as quickly as possible, get something on your canvas. The entire point of proportions, I know this is going to sound crazy, but it's that you have to have stuff to reference against the rest of your character, or else you can't figure out the actual proportions. Let's get some wings on this guy, because that kind of affects the silhouette in a pretty major way. Then we'll do some arms. I think we're going to avoid feet, it looks like. And let's continue on here, blocking some stuff out. Feel free to interrupt me at any point if you guys have any questions about process or anything else along the way. He's in Pokken Tournament. I didn't know that. I've never played Pokken Tournament, but that game does look pretty cool. I really like fighting games, question mark. I really like Smash Bros. I really like Super Smash Bros. Melee. Yeah, that's maybe the only fighting game that I really like. I'm not a huge fan of the newer stuff, just because it's so slow, but I do really enjoy me some Melee. I also have played other fighting games, more traditional stuff like Street Fighter, etc., Tekken, Mortal Kombat, all the goodies. But I'm not a huge fan. I've just always been more into the kind of ring out mechanics in Smash. It's my game. That's where I like to be. Make these a little smaller. A cool little trick here for you guys. If you're scaling something across the X symmetry and this is happening, where it's like growing out away or in towards the X axis, turn on local symmetry, and then when you scale, it will scale uniformly on that axis. Very nice, handy little thing, especially when you're trying to scale up something that's really far out here on the x-axis. It helps to not pull it in on itself. Very, very handy trick to have. This booty, which is what I'm going to call it, is going to need to be much larger. Trying to understand what's going on here in the pixel art. I think we're gonna have to take some liberties with what we're seeing, which is fine. It's part of the fun, right? Let's do the arms next. Make sure we get everything in there, like I said. And again, just another sphere stretched out real quick. You could use Z spheres for this. You could use a curved tube brush. You could use a billion other tools, but a sphere's pretty quick too. Gonna make them just a little bit more thin here. I think the poly count was a little awkwardly high there. And I'm going to put this guy in a little bit of a neutral pose. I don't want his arms out in front of him, I don't think. I don't want him to get too in the way of what I'm looking at for the silhouette. Maybe we can do it a little here. Something like that. It's gonna feel very awkward though. Let's lift him up for now and then we'll figure out the pose a little bit later. For the claws, I'm probably just going to do a quick little placeholder. And then we can cut out the shape later. The main thing here is that we just get these proportionally about the right size. Something like that. And does Scizor, or Scichar, we need to refer to him by his proper name, do they have a stinger? Scizor does not have a stinger, but it looks like it's kind of taken the part of his toe right there. I think that's what that little silver color is. I think that's where it pulled that shape from. So I kind of like that, integrating. I think that's just his leg that I'm seeing there. It's not like he has this shape. I think that shape is actually completely excluded, and it's literally just the foot. But I think this looks a lot cooler, or it's going to look a lot cooler once we figure it out a bit more. So I kind of like that idea for the stinger. So let me grab that really fast and insert some kind of little stinger. He's got, yeah, it's kind of a rounded shape there, but that's okay. We'll take it. We'll make it work. Work on transparency for the wings. I can show you how to do transparency in ZBrush, but I will not most likely be making these transparent since they don't appear to be. I'll show you a quick little trick. It's really easy. But in my opinion, transparency in ZBrush doesn't look super great. Doesn't render very well. I'm not a huge fan of the effect. So here, we'll do it on the wings since we mentioned the wings. Down, 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 down. Scroll down in Tool to Display Properties. There it is. BPR settings. Turn on BPR Transparent Shading. Just click yes. It's asking if you'd like to turn it on in the render palette as well. And then just mess with your BPR visibility. And then when you perform a BPR, you can see them become transparent. And to show you that they are transparent, a little click, a little render, and look at that. You can see right through the wing. Beautiful. Let's turn it off. So I won't, like I said, I won't be messing with transparency during this time, but maybe there's something that we can use in the future to play around with it. All right, let's do a little bit of some proportional tweaking to our little dude here. I am in Transpose Master, and I am going to do some quick fixes to some stuff. Swing that back. Let's just scale everything down. The head, compared to everything else, is quite large. I feel like he would have a tough time flying around with this fat of a head. Probably something like that. I think we need to scale up our claws. And I think our wings up top needs to be quite a bit larger. All right, so let's call that good in terms of some quick size scale things. And let's figure out the rest of this guy. I say we go on to work on the head really quick. Let's T-pose back out of here really quick, though. And yeah, let's start with the face and kind of work our way down. James, what's going on? About one of my tutorials the other day. Well, thank you, man. I hope that it helps you out. As always, feel free to shoot me a message if you have any questions along the way. I'd be happy to help you out. The last video you posted was cool. Well, thank you, man. I had a lot of fun doing it. It was a pretty silly video. I essentially went outside. I know, me going outside, crazy. I went outside and I should start by saying, have you guys seen the random blob art challenge where somebody like spills water or like coffee and then they try to make a character out of that? If not, it's a thing. I decided to take a step further, or maybe a couple steps further. So I went out into a park close to my house and found some like random objects that I could attempt to turn into some characters. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I'm glad that you did as well. All right, I am doing a quick number on these wings. I'm actually going to flatten these. So you see how the geometry is kind of bad? I can make it not bad, but I'm thinking it might be easier for me to just remodel this as a quick cube. I think that's quite a bit faster. So I'm going to just very quickly throw an insert mesh on this. And very, very quickly, actually, I lied. I said cube, I meant plane. I'm going to use a plane of geometry, and then I'm going to take that geometry and extrude it so that it actually has some thickness. It's just a lot easier to manipulate something that's clean instead of the mess that we have right now. But for the purposes of blocking out, it's just a lot easier to do stuff quickly and get it done, get it in place. For now, I'll just leave that, and I'll fix the wing a little bit later. We'll leave those for now. Let's get up here on the face and do some stuff up here. So it looks like it's pretty much a sphere, maybe like a little bit stretched, a little bit of the Chimchar monkey mouth going on there. Probably not too much in shape change. A little bit pointed though, I think, based off what I am seeing. If anything, it looks like it maybe tapers a little bit towards the front. I'm kind of looking at, I know, there's not a lot to interpret off of pixel art, so you have to do a lot of interpretation here. But I think that should work. Let's go back to, you know what? We're gonna mask this shape off and extrude it so he's got like a little bit of that inset kind of helmety look. I think that'll be pretty cool. I'm gonna use the mask lasso to do it. At least in the beginning portion. I like to use the mask lasso a lot to do some nice big masks really quick. I think it's good for just blocking stuff out in general. And then you can kind of clean it up with your other masking tools like the mask pen, which is what I'm using right now, which is just the default mask brush. Let's see here. This looks like it doesn't actually curve. I think that was more so just the shape warping from my mask against the shape of the sphere. And maybe like a little bit extra there. Let's sharpen up this angle. Something like that. And then from here, I'm just going to press Control W, that polygroups, whatever you have masked. And then I will just select that shape and delete the stuff that I masked from there, so that now I can extrude this and make it a little bit more thick. There are a couple ways to go about doing that. You could actually mask that object and use the extraction menu. I'm not a huge fan of using that though, a lot of the time, because you end up not being able to manually control your thickness. You have to let it calculate and then kind of decide from there. So I will, let's see here, keep groups, target poly count, 1K, should be plenty. Let that do its thing. Let's see here. Happy to catch you live. Well, happy to have you back, man. Side effects, what's going on, dude? Welcome, welcome. Welcome back. How you doing? You got beard. I did. I did get beard. At some point. All right, really quick here to finish this helmet off. Extrude. I would normally do all polygons, but we just want polygroup. Where are you? Polygroup island? Question mark? Yes, that is what I wanted. Okay, so see how I can kind of manually control the extrusion there to figure out the thickness. And then we can manipulate and control this geometry even more from here, which is pretty awesome. I think that's probably good in terms of thickness. We'll kind of leave that there. So that worked out. This color here is going to be a little bit darker, so let me set up my poly paint very quickly. And we can get some eyes and some other stuff in there. And probably adjust the shape here. I think this needs to come back a little bit more. I am doing awesome. Thank you so much for asking, man. You kidding me? We're doing Scichar. Of course, everybody's favorite Pokemon fusion. How could I not be excited? No, I think he's pretty cool. I like him a lot so far. See how he ends up at the end. Like I said, the stream's going to be a little bit shorter tonight. I probably only have like about an hour left, just because the Z Squad is on after me, where they stream 3 people at the same time, which is pretty cool. If you guys have never checked it out, you should definitely stick around after I'm done. That'll be, like I said, in just like an hour, hour and a half maybe at the most. From about right meow. I want to pull this back even more. It's still not enough. But as I do that, I feel like this shape is too rounded on the sides. So I'm going to pull that in a little. I have to adjust both of these because they're separate subtools. Kind of just the way we did it though, but it's a lot easier to control if they're separated. Separate subtools are pretty much always easier to manipulate. I'm going to do a quick bevel right here. Very quickly. So that sharp edge retains a little bit better when I subdivide or smooth this. All right, cool. Let's give him some eyes. How are we going to do some eyes on this guy? There's quite a few different ways we could go about it. Yes, this video will be uploaded for sure after I am done streaming. As with all of my streams. So no worries if you came in here a little bit late or you're not going to be able to stick around for the full stream. I think the way I want to do this is inset some geometry and then just put the eyes on it like that. So whoop, get a really basic kind of eye shape. And clean it up. Like I said, start with that mask lasso first just because it's faster and easier. All right, so I kind of want to move the eyes back this way a little bit and up. So I think I have a cool idea. We'll see if it works. That was a little annoying. I'm going to do a quick little piece of geometry that I can move. Maybe right here-ish. Just trying to look at that from a few different angles. And then I'm going to subtract that from the head. So we'll do that next. I need to close that off. Trying to fix your new PC. DisplayPort's no signal on new GPU. Oh no, that sucks. Considering like all the new GPUs, I think for the most part have multiple display ports. Mine is I think I have a 980, I want to say, which isn't super new, but I believe it only has like 1 or 2 HDMIs, and then the rest of it is all DisplayPort. My remesh there kind of freaked out. This actually doesn't need to keep groups. I don't know why I have that on. We'll try that again. The helmet is a separate object, yes. So I'll show you here in a sec once this is done. Give this a second. So if you didn't see me do it, the head here is a separate subtool. So the way that I've done that, like I said, the stream will be posted later on YouTube if you miss anything. But I created a mask and just extracted it with the ZModeler brush. And I can go more in depth on that process on another piece of geometry a little bit later. Just so we make sure that everybody's following along. All right, so there we go. Soften this up so we get a little bit of a softer transition there. I think that's looking pretty good. And now we can like fit an eye in there with a few other pieces or just do some quick poly paint. A lot of options there. I'm gonna move it just a little. And I think I'm actually just going to repurpose that geometry and inset it a little bit and scale it up. So let me see here. Just grab a white color, and that's actually working pretty good for just something super quick. So if I was doing this, you know, if I was sculpting this as a toy, I probably wouldn't do it this way. This is just kind of a quicker way to go about doing this. It's a little bit messy, and it's not, you know, super clean and perfect, which is typically what I aim for whenever I sculpt anything. So do as I say, maybe not as I do kind of situation. Let's, how do I want to do the eye there? Probably just some quick extra geometry that I can extrude. Let's see here. Can't see anything. Let's fix that mask. So like I said, kind of the not necessarily cheat way to go about doing something like this, but it's maybe not the way I would traditionally do this. But we're getting stuff done. That's what's important, right? We'll make it look pretty good too. The 2070 Super from Gigabyte. I think I have a GTX card, but I have not a 2070. Is that a Titan card? Is anything in the 2000 series considered a Titan? I actually don't know how that works. But that's a big number, so I know it's better than mine. I don't do a ton of GPU stuff though. Bit new to ZBrush, no problem, man. That's what the streams are for. Come and hang out and ask questions and everything else. RTX 2070. Mine is a Gigabyte card as well. But, yeah, I don't know how the 20 series works. Sounds big, sounds powerful. I'm into it. Alright, for now, we'll just do some quick little poly paint on that. And that will have to do, so we can move on and work on some of the rest of this. Not perfect, not amazing, but there's always time to come back and continue cleaning things up a little bit more. Let's maybe figure out what we want to do up here a little bit. See how the polys are kind of broken. There aren't actually holes in the geometry. It's just that it can't, it's, here, if I probably turn on double, oh no, it doesn't. Yeah, the polys are just super stretched there, so it's kind of freaking out. ZBrush doesn't know what's happening. Give a little more push and pull. Maybe a little too much on the bottom. Nah, we'll leave it. And I will merge that down into the helmet later. I think it's a little too tall, so let me do a quick squash here with my transpose line. My favorite transpose line. Everybody's all about that 3D gizmo, come on. Where's your culture? Where's the old school ZBrushers at? Transpose line. That's what it's all about, guys. Alright, I will not mess with that anymore. Let's go around on a few more parts and pieces and continue to clean stuff up. We are making good progress here, so let's try to keep that flow going. There's actually some gold stuff behind him. Is that supposed to be like Chimchar's tail or something back there? God, I hope not, because that would be pretty awkward. We're gonna ignore that little gold splotch and continue on here. Alright, I'm going to replace the upper wing with a cleaner piece of geometry now as well. Let's see. Just doing some quick, super quick poly modeling stuff. To get this into place. What I love about poly modeling in ZBrush is when this tool was introduced, is that not only could you use all these awesome new poly modeling tools, they're not really new anymore, but you could use all your favorite ZBrush tools alongside with it, which was super nice. And I really enjoyed that. So I love doing poly modeling stuff in ZBrush now that you actually can. So see when I smooth those out how they kind of change shape quite a bit? So that's kind of what we're looking for there. Let's see if we can manipulate the shape a bit further. That would be awesome. One thing that you can do to force geometry to hold a little bit tighter is by adding additional edge loops, or adding a bevel is another way to kind of think about that. One edge loop if you want it to retain its shape a little bit closer to something. That's what we can do here. Trying to offset this shape just a little bit more. There we go, that's working pretty well. The wings down here are squared, but they are rounded, of course, much like the ones up top. So what I'll do is I'll add in an edge loop right through here. I did that with the slice curve brush. It'll help it to stay a little bit more flat down there towards the end. Very nice, okay. Ooh, whoa. Don't want that to happen. Mirror that back over to the other side. Beautiful, he's coming along. Let's continue on here. I think this bottom piece is a lot fatter than what I have, so I'm going to try inflating it a little bit. Split these two shapes up first. A little bit more stout, a little bit more fat. I think that works pretty well. You can model like Maya or Max in ZBrush. Yes, absolutely. You can do box or poly modeling directly here in ZBrush. There are maybe, because Maya and Max are so such like robust poly modeling programs, that's what they do. There's maybe like a few tools that you wouldn't have in ZBrush, but there are other tools in ZBrush that kind of make up for that. I would say that there's probably like a few things that, like, I don't think you can extrude an edge in ZBrush, like an edge that is open, doesn't have a poly extruding from it. I don't think you can extrude from one of those in ZBrush. There's like a cheat way you can do it to like get around it, but it's like just one of those things. Yeah, more specialized, that's what I would say. Like, there are sculpting tools in Maya, there are sculpting tools in Blender, but comparatively to ZBrush, it's like night and day. There's like, it's no competition. It's because ZBrush is specifically for, it has an extremely robust digital sculpting tool set. Okay, so here's an interesting little lesson for you guys on creating appealing shapes. A little tidbit for you. So when you are creating a shape, no matter what it is, there are a few kind of fundamental ideas that are really nice to keep in mind. And I've talked about many of these on my streams in the past, but here's maybe a new one for some of you guys. And the basic idea is called taper. If you don't know what taper means, another way to think of it is going from thick to thin or vice versa. So in these arms, we have these little twiggy arms, but that's super boring. They're all just parallel lines and everything else all the way down. So to make those a bit more visually interesting, I am going to try to taper them out a little bit. And the poly count's a little bit too high for me to manipulate as of right now, so I am going to lower that quite a lot here. And just get rid of all these edge loops here. So here's some more poly modeling at work, right? I think poly modeling is super boring to watch, so I try not to do a ton of it directly here on my stream. Sometimes it can be cool. Most of the time, not so much. So there you go. We start to taper that shape out to be quite a bit more thick towards the end, and instantly that shape becomes more visually interesting, right? It helps lead the shape down from this scrawny, thin arm all the way down into this big, fat, meaty claw, right? Little SpongeBob there. So I think that needs to be just a little bit more exaggerated in the taper. Something like that, kind of like that. And yeah, what else? What else we want to do here? I feel like I cannot understand what's happening here in the torso with this pixel art. So I think we're just going to make up a lot of it. Let's see. What could I do with this like little silvery shape here? Maybe he's got like a little armor plate on the front of his torso or something. I think I'll just kind of color block that out for now, and we can do some more stuff with that later, maybe make that a bit more visually interesting. And I thought that the wings were a little bit too low, like they're kind of attached to his butt, so I tried to raise them up a little bit too. So we can improve upon our mishmash of Pokemon here. That would be great. Let's try to do these claws next, because I think they look super cool, and who would Scichar be without his Scizor claws? Let's get those next. How do I want to do this? I'm probably just going to chop up this shape, and that, or just subtract out what I don't want. It looks like these are separated, so that's like actually a hinge on the bottom. So I think we will split those then, if that is the case, which it appears to be. So I'm gonna turn off everything so that we can just work on the claw. We'll put him up in the corner real quick while we do some of this. The claw. No laws when you're working on claws. Am I right? All right. Let's chop this up. So I'm using the slice curve brush. A lot of functionality there to create some nice sharp slices, some cuts. You can see that it freaked out a little bit in some areas, but honestly, that's okay. It should be fine. So close holes is a little bit of a weird algorithm. Oh, you know what? These actually appear to be hollow. So that makes this even more interesting. I think what I'm going to do a quick Dynamesh here, because I want to recalculate the geometry that I have so that I can, whoops, get this. I'm going to try to ZRemesh these a little bit. So if you're unfamiliar, ZRemesh is the, it's a quick auto topology tool in ZBrush. Close holes might work better here. And I'll show you guys some tricks with that as well here. in just a moment. So this is getting extremely thin up here, and it's actually causing some issues with what I want to do. This might not work out super well, but we'll try. I'm trying to think if there's maybe a little bit of a better way to do this really quick. I'm just gonna remesh this, and maybe this little hole here won't matter too much. But the reason why I don't want to close off holes here is because these appear hollow. So what I'm going to do is remesh these, try to clean them up a little bit, and then give them some thickness, much like what I did with the helmet up top. Don't have as much control over modeling in ZBrush as you do in Maya. I would say that that's not true. I would say you don't have as much control probably over poly modeling, box modeling in ZBrush as you do in Maya, just because there's more functionality. But in terms of just modeling in general, I don't think that's the case at all. I have a ton of, I have a ton of control here in ZBrush. It's just a matter of, I think, practice with the software. I'm also trying to do stuff really quick right now so that we can get some quick results for some of these more complex shapes. So we have to do some workarounds. George, what's going on? Welcome. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Looks like a crest, a bit of armor. The chest piece, I think that's what you're maybe referring to there. It does kind of look like that. Ooh, look at this. We got our claw kind of working here. Or at least the beginnings of a claw. No law claw. This is a little bit like stretched up top. Oh, the bottom. The bottom doesn't actually have these sharp edges. It's like just flat. Interesting. So it looks like the bottom piece, I'm guessing, just like insets in like this is a little bit larger, and then it like fits over top of that piece. That is going to be my guess. What can we do here? I'll just get rid of that really quick. Just so we can do this really quick, because I want to show you guys the extraction function again that I did on my helmet, because I know at least one person had a question about that. All right, cool. So there we go. We've very quickly just done a lower poly remesh on that. Maybe we can lower the poly count even more. Ooh, you know what? I did not. That's what's wrong. Okay. I'm going to turn on local sim and do a mirror and weld, because our geometry is a little messed up right now. Whoop, scoot that over. Just fixing some geometry really quick, because I wasn't thinking and this was not set up properly. Because I didn't have symmetry on with local sim. There we go. Much more uniform and clean. I was wondering what was going on there when I was trying to select some of that earlier. This will be much easier to work with. Okay. So from here, let's manipulate some shapes just a little. How low can I get this? As low as possible. Beautiful. Kind of tweak this a little here. Just some very quick adjustments. It doesn't need to be super exact, I don't think, for Scichar. So I think that'll do for now. So the trick is, for the extraction of your single-sided polygons, is to use the Z Modeler brush. And just hover over a polygon and hold the space bar, so you get the little Z Modeler action window here. And over the poly, we want to choose Extrude All Polygons. And we just want to click and drag, and you can kind of see how we can interactively, I'm just kind of clicking and dragging with my pen here, kind of choose how thick we would like to make this. We will go maybe about like right there. So that's now a solid closed shape. Could maybe make that a little bit thicker, but I'm fine with that. And a really cool thing with the Z Modeler brush is that if you do one operation, ZBrush will actually remember that, so that the next time you go to use the Z Modeler brush, if you, instead of clicking and dragging, just click on that polygon, it will do the same operation at the same scale that you did it previously. So those are extruded at the exact same depth there, which is pretty nice. So we have those equal now. And now I can sit here and manipulate this shape even further. We'll go ahead and do that just a little to clean up our claw. And like inset that like so. Clean up our silhouette of our shape. Like I said, I don't think this needs to really be perfect or anything like that. If we want a little bit of a tighter transition in a couple areas, we could probably throw in some bevels. So I have very quickly, I did that very fast, so I'll explain what I just did. I threw in a bevel, I left it tight down here at the bottom, and I just did a quick like smooth stroke or two up here to make the polygons spread apart really quick. And then I used my move brush to adjust that. So I know I did that really quick, but just to explain exactly what happened there. And I'm actually going to do the same thing up here. I'll keep the poly frame on so you can actually see it happen. It's looking a bit sharp. I'm gonna add some volume here with my move brush. Get that claw thick, or a little bit more thick. Cool, cool, cool. Let's turn everything else back on here. Maybe work on placement, proportions, a few other things, and yeah, we'll continue on. Let's merge those together. Whoa, come on. He went away. Oh, he's gone forever, I guess. Well, we got him back, so that's fine. I'll just clear my canvas to make sure we don't have any more weird bugs going on while we try this. Awesome. So I can turn off local sim now and mirror that over to the other side, like so. So now we got two of them. There's probably some more cleanup I can do here to the shape, so I think I'll spend a little bit of time doing that. Then we'll add the like eye pattern on them. They kind of look like faces, which is pretty cool. So we'll try to get that on next. This fusion is Chimchar and Scizor at the request of the early viewers. They got to choose since they were the first ones in here. Yes, the site is japeel.com/pkm for Pokemon. So you just sit here. Here's another one that I had that I really liked, Bane Plume. I generated this right before I started the stream. He looks super creepy and super cool, and I really like the color palette with the Vileplume hat. But yes, we ended up getting Scichar, Chimchar, and Scizor. It was pretty cool. I like him a lot. It's pretty fun. All right. So I think from here, so I got about like 30-ish minutes left, a little bit more than that actually on the stream, so we probably want to speed up some of the stuff here a little bit. I want to show you a really cool thing that you can do to get some segments for like an insect-like feel of maybe, what would it be? The third segment, what is that called? Abdomen, thorax, the butt. Of the butt of your insects. You could do this on any shape, but we're going to make it look like it's segmented. And to do that, it's really easy. We use the slice curve brush and create some quick slices in our object. If you don't know how to get the slice curve brush, just hold Control and Shift and click up here on your brush. There we go. I don't know what was wrong there. And choose slice curve. That was a little weird. Yeah, so slice here, a slice there, a slice here, looking a bit like an Easter egg, right? I have polyframe on, that's why it kind of looks that way. And then from here, I am going to go to split and click on group split. And just click OK. It's asking, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do that? I am sure. And then you want to run a close holes operation on all of these objects that you just split off, which is pretty easy to do. You can find that under Modify Topology, I believe, and it's just close holes. There it is. I'm just going to do that on all these objects. And you'll see that they have different colors for the geometry that is closed around them, which is interesting because those are different polygroups, and we can use that to our benefit with ZRemesher and keep groups. So we're just gonna drop our poly count all the way down, keep groups ZRemesh, and just go through all those objects that we just split up. Whoop, make sure that it's all the way down for each of these. You'll have to adjust the poly count each time. Oh, and you'll have to turn on keep groups. So a little bit of a caveat there. So you can see how it retains. Look how much more clean that geometry is. Isn't that beautiful? I think so. And now I'll just merge all these back together. There's the merge menu here. You can use merge down. You can do it however you want. I'll just do it this way. I'll probably just run an auto groups on this just to kind of clean it up a little bit more. But now when I smooth that out or subdivide this geometry, you can see what that's beginning to look like, how we're getting these segmented split shapes here. But that's a little bit too harsh, I think. So there's a few ways we can go about making that a little bit less distinct. You could inflate your shapes like so, and that looks pretty good. You could also bevel some of your edges to make it not transition quite as sharp. I think what I'm going to do is just inflate my geometry, because every time you ZRemesh, your geometry actually gets just a little bit ever so slightly deflated, so I'll make up for a little bit of that by reinflating it here. And now we got some cool little segment things here going on, which I like. So we'll keep those until we decide to change them later. I don't think this little nub, I mean, I guess we can keep it sharp like a stinger, but it's more so, this is just kind of like his toe, I think, from the original Scizor artwork. But I think we'll keep it the way we have it. Let's make sure this poly paint is applied there. And what's next? I guess we should probably finish the claws. I wanted to move this really quick. Actually, I just want to make some proportional changes to the entire character. So we'll go back into Transpose Master really quick. Slide that back. So when you go into Transpose Master, I know this looks a little weird, but you just have to understand what's going on. We are essentially looking at the lowest subdiv for all of our geometry here. And it just combines it all into one subtool temporarily so that you can manipulate your geometry a little bit more easily. Transpose Master is great for posing your characters. That's how I pose all my characters. It's how I've always done it. Maybe not always, but in my opinion, it's the best way to do it in ZBrush in terms of posing. Because once you pose, there's going to be some stuff that you probably got to fix depending on how complex your character is. It's almost always stuff you have to fix. Unless you have like skin weighted your character and you're rigging and posing in Maya or something like that. It's a little bit different though. All right, let's do the claw. And there's still some stuff that we need on our wings and a bunch of corrections that we need to make. So I think that's what we're going to do with our last half hour here. I once played around with the Poke Fusion site for fun and created a cool fusion. Altaria and Dialga. And the fusion created diarrhea. That is beautiful. But I'm extremely, it's very clever. I'm extremely curious now. Let's open up a new one here. Pony. Let's see, Altaria on the left. Let's check it out. And Dialga on the right. I actually do know these ones. Let's check out Diarrhea. I'm very curious to see what Diarrhea looks like. Not as bad as I expected. That's pretty cool. I kind of like that. It's I think it looks like a mega evolution of Altaria almost. But yes, for those that are just joining us a little bit late in the stream here, no worries. We are doing a Poke Fusion. You guys got to choose at the beginning. We might do another one of these in another stream in the future. It would be a lot of fun. Try to show up early so you can have your say-so in what we end up sculpting. But we did Chimchar and Scizor and ended up with a little Scichar here, which ended up being pretty cute, and I liked him a lot, so we ended up going with him. Right now we are probably going to work on the claw, wherever it went. There it is. Live Boolean tends to cause some weird stuff to happen on occasion. I'm not sure exactly why that freaked out in particular, but we got it worked out now. I am going to add just some quick poly paint for the fake eyes on the claws, depending on how clean we want to get that. We can maybe do this a few different ways, but I think for now this will work just fine. Just something quick. We also want to get to a point where we can pose some of this. Let me see if I can. Whoa, let's try auto groups here. I'm gonna try to pull out some of this shape here so that he's got a little bit more of a wrist, kind of like what I'm seeing there. I know it's hard to make out stuff in pixel art, right? But we have to interpret what we can and try to make sense out of it. So I think that feels like it'll make a bit more sense from an anatomical standpoint, right? I'm gonna decrease the taper on these arms just a little here. Trying to get some nice curve happening. I think proportionally these could change quite a bit. And the poly paint feels misproportioned as well. So I'm trying to keep those aligned with the x-axis for as long as I can, because as soon as I break that, it becomes a lot more difficult to do symmetrical operations on them. It becomes almost impossible. But I can do symmetrical operations with local sim, even though it's over here off to the side of the central axis of like the world. So local sim is the button you want to play with if you're trying to do something like this. So proportionally that feels quite a bit better. Almost feels like that part's coming forward a little bit too much there. Maybe that's just how it is. All right, another thing I wanted to do to this was paint the inside black so that it was shadowed in there so you couldn't see in it. I think that'll help kind of make everything come together here. Gotta be careful painting shadows though. It can become really heavy-handed really quick. I'm using backface masking on my paintbrush right now so that it doesn't paint through the object, which is a very, very handy tool for a number of processes. Backface masking. Check it out if you have never played around with it before. It's in the brush auto masking palette. I think that helps a lot. Feels much better. If it was possible to make that into a toy, definitely is. And you're allowed to sell it by the creators of Pokemon, definitely not. I bet some people would buy it. I think so, yeah. I think Pokemon fusions are really cool, and if Nintendo ever ran out of ideas, I mean, there's a keychain for a Pokemon, so I don't think they're ever going to run out of ideas. But if that were ever the case, I think there would be a cool market for Poke fusions, and there's only 1 billion combinations that you could ever have. So, a lot of possibility. But yeah, I actually work professionally on toys, so definitely, definitely possible. And I've actually done some toys for Pokemon in the past. Back when Tomy was the only one with the license. Now they share it with Wicked Cool Toys, which is just the most buck wild name for a company that I've ever heard in my entire life. Wicked Cool Toys. It almost seems like a joke. No offense to Wicked Cool Toys. I would love to work with you. A great idea to practice on random Pokemon characters? Absolutely, because they already exist in 2D, 3D. There's a ton of variations and versions that you can reference, and there is pretty much an objective goal that you can aim for. I think they're a great way to practice. I think a lot of fan art is a great way to practice in general. I think they're fun. Pokefusions are pretty cool too. So I was thinking about what we wanted to do with the chest, but before we do that, let's finish off our wings back here and get that kind of extruded shape. Does Scizor have anything on his bottom pair of wings? I would imagine it's a similar thing. I don't have an image of Scizor's back, so maybe we can improvise. That's what the name of my streams should be. Maybe we can improvise. Alright, so for the shape on top of the wing, I'm deciding if I want to make this super clean or not. I don't think so. I was going to do this a different way. I was going to do this the hyper clean way. Maybe it'll be good to show that on something else. I don't think it's that big of a deal though. Most of the stuff that I've done tonight has been pretty quick operationally. But we have to do that because we don't have a lot of time. Only got like 20 minutes left. Where is Group Loops? Joe, what's going on, man? How are you doing? Haven't been able to catch a stream in ages. That's all right. Glad to have you back, man. And thank you. I've enjoyed it myself. Although sometimes it gets in my mouth. It's a little annoying. I need to shave a lot right now. Would prefer slightly higher res ones. Slightly higher res. I'm not sure what you mean. Like slightly higher res geometry? It's not hard to go for higher res. But I recommend keeping your poly count only as high as you need it. I don't really pay attention to poly count too much. It's more of, you know, I get what I need for the task at hand. And I try not to exceed that. But I get asked a lot about how many polygons I have, and I'm just like, I don't know, I haven't even looked up here, and I have 1.5 million polys right now. It's like, I don't know, I'm not looking, I'm not paying attention to it, it doesn't matter. I'm more worried about the form that I'm trying to sculpt than anything else. Did I get a cat? I didn't get a cat. If anything, I'd get a pupper. Ah, for the reference, something more than 15 by 15 pixels. Well, the reference is from this auto generator of Pokemon Fusion, so I take what I can get. I highly doubt that anybody else has made art of Scichar before. If that's the case and there's a really cool reference out there, you know, for sure, I would definitely use that as a reference. But what's cool about this is that we actually have the ability to do a little bit of design work ourselves and interpret some of the shapes to try to create something a bit more visually interesting than what's auto-generated. Because the auto-generation, it's never going to be, you know, super clean or perfect or anything. It's a lot of the time going to be pretty terrible. You guys saw the diarrhea Pokemon, so you know. And I've seen a lot worse as well. But it just kind of depends. I think this is pretty fun, getting to you know, make something out of 15 by 15 pixels, as you said, Dan. I'm adjusting the body so that I can get a little bit more taper down here, because the shape felt really visually uninteresting. So we're gonna split it up to change that. So remember taper, that was like the one thing I wanted to look at with the arms earlier if you guys were around. Now I'm just doing the exact same thing in the body. And I'm gonna move our stinger to better align with that a little bit here. And I think Chimchar, his torso actually does this as well. I'm not positive, but I'm liking the direction there of the shape. So what I would like to do now is merge some shapes to blend them a little bit better, because it feels like the torso is just kind of sticking in to, well, it is doing this. So it's just kind of sticking into this top piece of this, this little bottom segment here. So what we'll do is take that little top segment, split it off, and combine it with the top one. And then essentially, I'll just do a really low-res Dynamesh. And I don't want the bottom of this shape to change, so I'm gonna mask that off and just kind of sculpt in here a little bit. Let's make this all red so I can see what's going on. And I'm just gonna blend between these shapes. And it doesn't have to be super clean or perfect. More just functional at this point. Turn everything back on. You know what? I feel like we start to lose the segmented feeling of the torso. Really hard to interpret what's going on there, but I think I do actually prefer the segmented feeling. So I'll take it back. What else could we do to this to switch it up? It's good to experiment. Just make this a bit more squat, or move this down even. I feel like this gets maybe a little bit too busy down here. I think less would be more in the case of our separation of shape here. So let's combine a couple of these real quick. The number of splits there was just feeling like a bit much to me. But I do like the segmented feeling, and it was a good demonstration, of course, to show off some of those slice curve tricks, which I use quite frequently. What cool kind of patterns or textures could we steal from Scizor? I kind of like that little piece around the neck and up here on his junk. I don't know what you would call that. Here. Scizor. This little piece here. Kind of a cool shape, cool pattern. Same thing with the neck. He actually does have a neck, and the way that is split in the middle is a bit strange as well. What is this? Is this an actual Pokemon? Shiny Mega Scizor? Is that a thing? The PokeFusion site that I was just using there includes, I think, every generation. I think you can do all of them. Don't quote me on that, but it looked like you could do all of them from what I played around with. I don't really know a lot of the super new Pokemon though, so. In terms of poly count, if you have a Polygon budget, you should be doing retopo, in my opinion. Well, absolutely, but you can do that at the end of the process. If you're working in ZBrush and sculpting, you can do some manual retopo at the end. We're kind of just sculpting away here, though. And if you're working on a toy or something for physical production, which is what I do, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as a Polygon budget. It's just you and what you got. Let's give this guy a really tiny, quick neck. Oh no. Kind of disappeared inside his head there. We'll have to go back to Transpose Master. So I want to do something similar to what's going on with Scizor here. And ooh. Crap. Too many subtitles. Undo on that. Go back to this. So kind of like this shape here that like bleeds up into the neck. And I think I'll do the same thing that I did with the helmet, where I did kind of that extruded armor feeling. I think that would work really well here. So I think we'll do that next. Let's make this a little bit larger though. One really cool thing that I haven't shown you guys yet, down in your Polypaint menu, sorry, not Polypaint, masking, where are you? Masking, and mask by color, and just click on mask by hue in this case, because they're two separate hues. We can get a nice little mask there, and then we can split this off with a poly group or whatever you would like to play around with. There's a bunch of different ways to do it, but I'll just use the poly group. Yes, very nice. And we are going to create that armored feel again, because I think it worked pretty well up top, and I wouldn't mind doing it again. it a little messy here in the beginning. A little bit low on the polygon count there. It started to break the shape a little too much. Oh, you know what? I extruded that the wrong way. Alright, so from here, we definitely need to move some stuff out of the way, because obviously the head is encroaching on our other shapes. But before I do that, let me just finish the poly modeling down here. Scale this up. Make sure it is slotted inside. Kind of align this a little bit better. All right. Take a step back. Fix our proportional doodads. Probably make our neck a little bit more thick, right? And maybe move some of this back a little. Definitely need to thicken up that tiny little neck. And I will also combine it with that shape that I extruded. So we could scale this, inflate it. We'll just do a quick scale here. Should be close enough for what I want to do. I just want to do a really fast blend here and keeping it as a smoother transition. By using our trim brush here while holding the Alt key, we'll actually make that a little bit of a nicer transition right there. A little bit more clean. What was that magic that was just performed? Which part? The transpose master or the neck combining stuff here? And as I've mentioned earlier, if you guys miss anything on the stream and you want to go back and watch it, I'll be uploading it later for you guys to check out. It'll be on my YouTube channel, which is, of course, youtube.com/Follygon. Boom, check it. And while you're there, maybe check out a few of my courses on my Gumroad, gumroad.com/Follygon. Since we haven't done some shout outs in a minute. Where do you find the previous streams? On YouTube. They're all uploaded there. Everything from the Pixelogic channel is too. Oh, the Transpose Master. Yeah, it's a great tool. I have a tutorial about how to use it over on my YouTube channel. Message me after the stream on Twitter or email or whatever, and I'll send it to you. I'm going to do a couple more scaling tricks here. I feel like our butts maybe a little bit too big. I'm liking the kind of rounded shape language that we have happening in the body. I think just because we're kind of running out of time here, I am going to do some quick posing with this guy. And to do that, I'll just show you right now. You know what? Forget the message later. let's go into Transpose Master right now. So when you activate Transpose Master, to do it, it's up in your Z plugin menu under Transpose Master. You want to click on the button on the left, T-Pose Mesh. It takes all your subtools, combines them into one single mesh, one single subtool, if you're familiar with the ZBrush terminology. But everything is in its lowest subdivision level. So some of my stuff it looks a little bit different, right? It looks a little bit strange. My live booleans aren't taking effect. There's a lot of things that are different here. But that's okay, because it's still able to be manipulated while we're in this state. And before I do this, let me save this guy out really quick so we don't completely just break everything. That would be very fun. Where did I'll just throw him in my downloads folder real fast. What was his name? Chimsor Scichar. Scizor and Chimchar. Alright, so we are in Transpose Master, right? We went up to Z plugin, T-Pose Mesh. We've done it. So from here, what can we do? Well, we can do a lot. We can start manipulating our geometry to send back to our split up subtools. So I'll show you a quick instance of that here with this arm. So let's say I want to pose this arm a little bit, start tweaking where it is, the shape, proportion, etc. Let's say I want to take the whole character and do a little twist, a little rotate, start working on posing him this way. There's a lot that we can do here. Just any changes that we make here. You can actually sculpt on these objects as well, but everything's so low poly in this state right now because I have subdivision levels on just about everything that there's not a ton of use there for sculpting. You can see that's getting a little stretched, so I won't change that too much. Just a couple more tweaks here. I'll show you exactly what we're looking at. Take the head, some rotates, some twists, some cool stuff there. That'll do. That'll do. That'll do, donkey. Yeah, something like that. So very, very quick pose, very quick tweaking, very simple, very rudimentary, right? But what we do now is we go up to Z plugin, and under Transpose Master, we just click that button on the right this time, T-Pose to Subtools. So it'll take this, it'll something didn't transfer. I don't know what didn't transfer. Hopefully it wasn't that head. Oh, it was the head. Why didn't that? So in the middle of, can I undo to rename this? I don't remember what this was named. I'm going to turn that off. So unfortunately, because I had that named as a different object, learn from my mistakes. I had that named as a different object, so it freaked out there and didn't name it properly. It didn't reorganize the subtool properly. So you can see that it freaked it out and put it here. But as a quick, oh man, that's terrible. Just trying to do it fast so we get the idea. So you can see how the pose changed and did all that cool stuff. Transpose Master, it's pretty awesome. Definitely check it out, play around with it if you have not done so before. But I think that's going to be it because we're kind of out of time here. And the what are they called? The Z team, stream team? I don't know. I'm a part of the ZBrush stream team. Z Friends, I think, is what they call themselves, which is Anna, Pablo, and is it Ashley? Who's all hanging out on this stream tonight? Essentially, 3 people are streaming all at the same time, and it's pretty awesome. You should definitely tune in. I'll be here for the first little part of it. Anna, Pablo, and Steven. That's right. Steven is also going to be joining. Ashley has done it in the past, I think. I think people are like rotating on it. But definitely stick around and check it out. If you guys want to check out more of my stuff, I've been doing some Pokemon related stuff over on my YouTube channel just for fun. which is just youtube.com/Follygon. I did a 15-minute challenge last week where I tried to sculpt your suggestions for Pokemon in 15 minutes each, and my brain almost exploded. It was a lot of fun. I got some more recent videos as well that you guys can check out. If you're interested in tutorials, brushes, materials, all that juicy ZBrush good stuff, check out gumroad.com/Follygon. If you're interested in learning how to sculpt appealing, stylized characters, much like the stuff that I create during my streams or the stuff you guys have seen me create in the past, check out appeal.academy. That's my kind of big stylized sculpting course that you guys can check out, which includes personal mentorship and look at those transitions and all this other awesome, amazing stuff. Check it out. It's got some cool stuff in it. If you guys want to check out that Pokemon generator thing, if you guys can't see the URL there, it's japeel.com/PKM. Really cool. That's how we got the character that we sculpted tonight, Chimchar Scizor, which was a lot of fun. And as long as we don't have any last-minute questions here, I think that's where we will leave it. Merci, says Driftwood. Of course, man. Happy to help. Could you animate this? You could animate the character. You'd have to rig it, of course, first, and have animatable animation-ready topology, which it is not right now. This is just something quick. Insane, we'll definitely have to watch your tutorial. Awesome, man. Appreciate it. I've been lurking, but thanks for the stream, man. Cheers. Of course, Doom, happy to have you around, even if you're just lurking in the shadows. And, of course, Francis, happy to have you back, man, as well as everybody else that's maybe lurking in the shadows. You guys have an awesome rest of your night. Like I said, stick around for the next stream. It's going to be really cool, and I'll probably hop into chat and say hi and stick around for a little bit as well. Until the next time, you guys have a beautiful night, and I'll see you around.